So here today we have Guy Babineau. So what classes do you teach at the Art Institute of Vancouver? And how long have you been in the fashion market industry?
Well, I teach a total of 14 courses in the fashion marketing program. To list them would be too long, but a range of advertising, consumer behavior, market research, public relations, and then the creative side of fashion marketing, like putting on fashion shows, producing fashion commercials, and fashion shoots, and that sort of thing. And I've been working in fashion marketing indirectly for about 17 or 18 years. I started off as a fashion journalist, and that moved me into working for companies doing creative fashion marketing.
So what are some examples of societal marketing and social media that have caught your eye?
Well, the biggest trends in fashion marketing right now are societal marketing, so marketing that provides something back to the community. Environmental, sustainability, things like that are really important in the fashion industry because the fashion industry has been put in such a negative light in recent years. So societal marketing is really important. People want to know that your brand or your company is also involved in something that has meaning and gives back to the community. Eco-fashion is really huge, and social media is gigantic in terms of reaching out to consumers now. And the biggest thing that's happening is the move of the high-end fashion industry and luxury to Asia, where 40% of couture, high-end fashion, and luxury is now selling. Perfect example is right here in Vancouver, Obaki, which is a sort of high-end contemporary fashion for daily life company in Vancouver, recently created their company into a foundation, so it's now 100% humanitarian. So it's not for profit, and all of their clothing they used to sell in New York and Berlin and Tokyo, all the clothing that they're selling now, everything above salaries and expenses goes towards their charity, which supports a number of orphanages and schools in Africa. So the whole company is doing that. Of course, the biggest example in the industry is MAC's Viva Glam campaign. 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, 25 years ago, MAC started Fashion Cares. It was the first big fashion-related company to start its own foundation. And every year they produce a different color of lipstick called Viva Glam, and they get pop stars like Ricky Martin and Lady Gaga and others, Nicki Minaj, to be their spokespeople for the year, and all the proceeds from that lipstick go to the MAC Foundation, which supports treatment and awareness of AIDS, and they've raised in the past 20 years more than $200 million from that program alone. So that's a really good example.
You mentioned that some of the larger luxury brands are making a push towards the Asian market. What's some of the brands that are doing this?
So brands like Louis Vuitton, which recognized the trend quite a long time ago, 20 years ago, got in first. Dior, Chanel, Hermes, Prada, Burberry is now trying to get in, but Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Dior, and Prada and Hermes are really at the top of the list of the big brand names that people know from luxury.
So what are some examples of what these brands are doing?
Well, first thing, that Louis Vuitton built its flagship store in Shanghai and then covered the exterior to look like a trunk by Louis Vuitton, so it looks like a giant Louis Vuitton trunk. Hermes and Louis Vuitton have both done separate collections for India's Made Fashion Week in Mumbai. They've been doing it for several years now. They do one collection in Paris for the rest of the world and a separate collection for the Indian market that blends both modern design with traditional design. Prada just simply opened up its public trading in the Hong Kong stock market. Right? So there's all different ways of them trying to penetrate the Asian market. And Chanel's most recent resort show was held in Singapore instead of in Paris because the biggest growth area for resort wear is in Southeast Asia.
So, who's your favorite fashion designer?
Oh my God. That's like a loaded question. It depends on my mood. I'd say that my favorite designer is no longer with us, Alexander McQueen, because he was a brilliant tailor, a brilliant designer, and his clothes were just riddled with social commentary. But in terms of menswear, Tom Ford is definitely somebody I admire a great deal, and somebody whose clothes I personally would like to wear. But from a creative point of view, I love the more artistic Japanese designers like Yohji Yamamoto. I love the creative, more rock and roll inspired designers like Vivienne Westwood and Rick Owens, and Radharani, who's a Canadian who does goth couture in Paris now. So those are some of the current favorite designers that I have.
Very interesting. Okay, I believe that.
Now that's all the questions I
Now
have.
we
Yeah.
got it. Yeah. Okay. That's
Alrighty.
great.
Thank you again.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Indeed,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Well, it was fun.
Yeah.
I hope it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was good because we had a good, I think the timing went well for each
Yeah.
question. We didn't go over. It was.